It's time for MacBreak Weekly. Well, we've just sat through an hour and 24 minutes of announcements from Apple, all sorts of new stuff, new MacBook Retinas, the new Mac Pro, and, of course, new iPads. We'll talk about it with our panel next on MacBreak Weekly.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust. This is Twit.
Bandwidth for MacBreak Weekly is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is MacBreak Weekly, episode 373, recorded October 22nd, 2013. The new iPads are here. MacBreak Weekly is brought to you by Shutterstock.com. With over 28 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips, Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. For 25% off your new account, go to Shutterstock.com and use the offer code MacBreak1013. And by Hover.com. Hover is the reliable domain name registration and management service that's simple, honest, and easy to use. For exceptional customer support and 10% off your new domain name, visit hover.com/MacBreak and use the offer code MacBreak. And by 99 Designs, the world's largest graphic design marketplace. 99 Designs connects businesses seeking quality, affordable designs with a community of more than 250,000 graphic designers. Visit 99designs.com/MBW to receive a free Power Pack upgrade, valued at $99. It's time for MacBreak Weekly, the show that covers your Macintosh and Apple stories in obsessive detail, and this is a good day to do a MacBreak Weekly. Thank you, Apple, for having your events on Tuesday, because we've just finished the big Apple October event. Joining us to discuss, starting all the way to the left, Mr. Rene Ritchie of iMore.com, who was covering it for iMore's new events page. Nice to see you, Rene.
Thank you, Leo. For the first time in forever, we cannot say it's a slow news day for Macs.
Well, that's what happens, is we have these big announcements. We wait, big announcement, then wait, big announcement. Also, nice to have Alex Lindsay here. He's the guy everybody wants to talk to about the Mac Pro, so we'll be questioning him in detail soon. He's brought a few
so we were talking
devices.
about what you carry around when you travel, and so I thought I'd pull out of my bag. You know, this
all
is like
of the tablets.
This is we use them for a lot of things. So, but yeah, so I've got a couple of these little.
You've got 5 phones.
No, these are just iPod Touches.
Oh,
and
3
then,
iPod Touches.
And then I got the Droid Max rules.
Droid Max, battery life.
Yeah,
king.
battery life. My iPhone. Haven't got the 5S yet.
Mini?
This is the 7. The Nexus 7.
All right.
And
there's a Mini. And there's a Maxi.
And there's a Maxi. And then there's
an Air.
And I'm missing one of my Airs.
It looks like the 11-inch, not the 13-inch Air.
No, if I'm going to go small, I'm going to go all the way small. Right. And
go
then
small or go home. Is that your motto?
Exactly. So, and then my Retina. But yeah, we use these a lot for displays when we're doing live events. So a lot of times I throw them up. This like
right.
I think I should talk about this before, but these little these little guys. So you'll.
Yeah, I bought one because of you.
So I've got a whole little.
Yeah, these are like stands for phones.
You go like this, and
then
they're great on flights too. So anyway, but the you
don't have to do the whole demo now. Save it for later.
Anyway,
save it for your pick of the week.
But that's why I had all those things out.
It's nice to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
And I also asked Alex for a toilet recommendation.
And I gave you.
I did.
We've lots of detail. It. I didn't shoot any video though because I didn't think that was appropriate.
We're getting a Toto washlet.
You gonna get the 300 or the 400?
I'm going 544.
Oh.
That's the one where you got got scented air blown at your coochie,
and it's got remote control.
It's a remote control. Yours doesn't have remote control.
No, mine has remote. My son brought one of his friends over to show him his.
Sit on this.
Look at this.
Says.
No, he didn't say sit on it. He goes, look at my dad has a toilet that has a remote control. Anyway, sorry.
Andy Yanako's here. He's sorry. He's actually he's taking advantage of this moment to finish his 3,000-word magnum opus.
It's now up to 3,644. As I say, we had it up, not down.
Oh my God!
I'm converting. Like, see, the thing is, like, usually, like, I'm live tweeting my thoughts as I go, and then I realize that I could actually just like be typing this into a window and get paid for it.
Yeah.
So now I'm taking essentially what are like 130 tweets and saying, "Oh, some adverbs would really dress that up nicely, wouldn't it?"
Also joining us from the MacCast, Adam Christensen's back. Hey, Adam.
Hey, how you doing?
So I imagine you were watching with a great interest as well.
I was following along, yes.
What do you think?
What do I think? I think not a lot of surprises, but some good stuff in there. A few surprises, too, which is always nice.
The iPad has been
tidbits.
renamed the iPad Air, which is strategically an interesting change.
Yeah, I found it interesting that the room seemed to not know what to do with that information. Like, it was
the room
kind
was
of a polite golf clap or something.
If you watch the video, the room was baffled much of the time.
Yeah.
The room was not the usual claque of Apple fans.
Yeah.
It was they were all kind of, huh? I think they wandered. I think some of them had stayed up to watch the Nokia event earlier today.
I don't know what was going on.
They were very...
The tone in several places felt a little odd. Yeah. There was some uncomfortableness early on with some of the folks. Tim and a couple people were stumbling a little bit.
They didn't feel well rehearsed for some reason, or not as well as they usually are anyway.
Not bad, but just different.
Usually they've got this like boom, 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 and there were a few flumpers around. Does that indicate, do you think, that maybe they changed things at the last minute? Sometimes that happens, right?
Those are really hard.
Used to happen with Steve.
They are. I mean, I think they did actually a really good job. That was very demo heavy, and especially going back and forth. And I'm afraid I work on these events, and so not this one, but events like this.
Feel for them.
You just look at it and you just go that. Every time someone does a demo, we always tighten up.
Well, I wonder. We've read that story in the New York Times. It's soon to be a book from a Wired editor about the iPhone release, and in which we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. We found out later that during the iPhone original announcment in 2007, there were engineers sitting in the front row with scotch, and every time their portion of the demo went well, they took a shot. And they were wasted by the end of the demo.
Demos are white knuckle events in front of lots
Everything
of people.
went perfectly, not a flaw. So just a quick, I don't need to probably do a rundown since everybody watching the show by now has probably absorbed everything. They started off talking. They actually kicked right into it. It was an hour and 24 minutes, and it was packed, as it was last year, with almost refreshing almost everything. In fact, I could shorten this discussion by saying what they didn't refresh. They didn't refresh the Mini, much to Alex's disappointment.
That might show up on the web, though, Leo. They just didn't talk about it.
Maybe they didn't talk about it. Yeah. They didn't talk about a 4K display for the new Mac Pro, which seems something that's missing, since they did talk a lot about the fact that it can support a 4K display. They didn't talk about updates for Final Cut Pro either.
Right.
Even though they have in the past said that the Mac Pro is designed to work with Final Cut in some unspecified way, implying there's a new Final Cut Pro. They didn't announce a host of new colored covers, nor were there any type covers. Those are some of the things.
There were no colored Mac Pros, which I was expecting.
No color Mac Pros. Yeah. But they did announce OS X Mavericks will be free. That was kind of, not a surprise, but welcome news.
Is there any software that Apple sells now other than Final Cut 10 that is not free?
Just the pro apps like Logic and Aperture.
Right.
Here is, by the way, they are now offering it. I just went to the App Store. I've been checking this whole time. OS X Mavericks, power to the desktop, 200 new features. OS X Mavericks brings maps and iBooks to the Mac, introduces Finder tabs and tags, enhances multi-display support. Very welcome for anybody using multiple displays.
And it's not just free. It's free if you have anything going back to Snow Leopard, I think, and on any hardware that supports it. I mean, you don't have to do that incremental upgrade anything anymore. Everyone's getting it for free, going back, I think, to the Intel Mac.
That's a benefit for everybody. Everybody, from developers to end users who won't have to worry about security. I've started the download. It is 5.29 gigabytes. If Skype suddenly dies for all of you guys, I apologize. It's my fault.
It's a lot of bits.
Wow. My advice would be, as we have advised in the past, if you have to put it on multiple machines, as I do, to download it but not install it immediately, but to extract the installer from it by inspecting the package contents and putting that on a USB key or something like that. Safari 6.1 for OS X Mountain Lion is asking for an update as well. I'm not sure why. I'll probably ignore that.
If you don't want to update, they still want you to get all the security patches and stuff for Safari.
Very, very important. And I think that's the other reason Apple wants to give this away. Tim Cook early on mentioned that, 70% of almost 70% of all iOS users were already on
iOS
and
this
7.
is a huge advantage when it comes to over Windows and Android, is the fact that there's so many, is such a unified, now it's a unified OS for, when it comes to security, when it comes to software development, when it comes to Apple software development, having everybody on the same, mark is really distinct. It's one of Apple's advantages. And I think they are definitely playing to their advantages and away from their, weaknesses.
It's amazing to see that, Google historically subsidizes everything with their services. Like, you get everything for free, but they put ads on it. Amazon gives you everything for free or, very low cost, but they use content to monetize it. And Apple's finally letting those hardware profits subsidize all of their stuff. So you're getting Mavericks free and iWork free and iLife free on the backs of all their hardware profits. And it's an interesting model and perhaps a much more competitive one for them.
That was also a welcome announcement that they've rewritten from the ground up iWork. Did they say iLife also rewritten from the ground up?
They got makeovers.
I think they kept on saying it, and I think that part of that ground up, what they're kind of implying also is that now that the iOS and your iOS and your OS 10 have the same code or sharing a lot of the same code. I think that's what you needed to do if you're going to make the conversion in the next year or two to a unified operating system. You need to change all of your OSs and all your apps. I think that's what in my opinion, that's what they probably do.
By the way, I'm downloading 7.0.3 on the iPhone now. They also pushed that out.
What's it do, not crash?
It's got a lot of stuff in it. It's got the iCloud keychain stuff. It fixes a lot of bugs, and it offers several new features.
So this is to go with Mavericks?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What else? Mac Pro, December. By the way, you can't buy any of the new hardware they announced today.
You know what?
You can't even pre-order it.
You can't,
which is
even the
surprise.
MacBook Pros? I thought they could.
You could get the MacBook Pros. Yeah.
So, but what I thought was interesting is the Mac Pro, you still can't spec to see how much it would cost to have whatever you're going to get. So you can see what they've set up, but you can't actually go through and do the spec.
They did come in with a fairly high price point for the base model, $2,999.
And then one model up, which is only the 6-core, is $399.
They did mention
$3,999. Yeah, it's on the website.
$1,000 more for the next one up.
And so there's still a 12-core, which we would assume is $4,999. And
probably, yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
Ouch.
You running out to buy one, Adam?
A Mac Pro?
Yeah.
No, that's a little more than I need for what I do. I'm mostly an audio guy these days.
It's not too much for anybody. Everybody should have one of these.
The price tag's too high. I'm thinking the new Mac Pros or MacBook Pros, are looking pretty attractive.
They are. I'm really my credit card's going to get a big dent on it in the next couple of months.
Yeah, I'm kind of due for one of those.
Yeah, I have the original Retina. So yeah. That's a year old, year and a half old now.
But then I realized too, I'm going to spend about $1,400 probably on iPads if I get one of each.
Right.
So.
I'm finally, I've been waiting because I have my iPad as my truck version, which is the 3. Because of the 4, I was like, meh.
Yeah, there wasn't enough reason to go to the 4 for me.
But the big reason was this stupid 30-pin. It's just driving me crazy that I have a 30-pin in it.
So you can still buy a 30-pin iPad, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Apple is keeping the iPad 2 around. It is the least expensive iPad ever at $299. It seems odd that they didn't keep the iPad.
No, I think it's a $399. Isn't it the 2? $399 for the 2.
It's the mini. The old mini is $299. That's right. So $399, and it's not the 3, not the 4, but the 2.
Yeah,
2.
The 3 wasn't good hardware.
I think that's clearly that's not for people buying one iPad. That's for people who are buying 500 iPads. That is, I think, the educational iPad.
Well, and also enterprise. There's I bet you a bunch of companies have committed to, hardware devices that are connected to them. A lot of people are using, they have a lot of add-ons that they built, slide in. When you go to these companies, a lot of them really have built out around the iPad. And I think that for them, and they're probably pretty sensitive about losing that 30-pin.
But the iPad 3 has a 30-pin, right?
It does.
It does.
The iPad 3 was not good hardware. That GPU could barely push the Retina display. And if you look at performance, the iPad 2 and the iPad 4 were way better at doing almost any GPU-based task than the iPad 3.
Yeah, because they were only pushing 1024 by 768.
Right. Yeah.
They were a lot lower res.
Huge Retina tax.
One thing is very interesting about the new iPad mini is it is no longer really a compromised device. It includes the same processor as its big brother, a higher pixel per inch than any iPad. It's 326 pixels per inch.
You're really just choosing size now.
You're saying I want a smaller size.
Yep.
Same screen resolution as a 9.7.
Which I think a lot of us said. I mean, a lot of us were not it's not really.
We chose it for size, not for price. battery life, still 10 hours on both devices. That's kind of a miracle. Does this change, Renee? Because when the iPad Mini came out last year, I was really bemoaning the lack of Retina. And you pointed out that would be difficult to do at the same price point with the same battery life. They did, in fact, increase the price of the Mini to $399 now.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that diagram that Phil Schiller showed off about the layers that they had to do to make the iPad Air, and the same thing had to happen with the iPad Mini, they just couldn't technologically make it last year. It was that old saying, you could have Retina, you could have Light, or you could have 10 hours of battery life. Pick two of them. And they chose, what they chose for those devices. Now they figured out a way to have all three on both devices. So exactly what you said, you can choose just the screen size and you get the thin device, the light device, and the 10 hours of battery life. It is a miraculous piece of engineering.
It's an interesting market they're going into. Casey Johnston on Ars Technica, she has a degree in applied physics, so she's the right person to put this table together. Was during this event putting a table together, comparing different tablets. This is the table for the smaller tablets, the iPad Mini tablet, the second generation. It's 3/4 pound, the heaviest of all of its brethren, but easily probably easily the fastest with the A7. We don't know RAM. It's got the most storage options, including 128 gigabyte storage for people like Alex Lindsay.
I wanted 256.
Battery life also very competitive at 10, but it is the most expensive comparing it to the Nexus 7 and the Galaxy Tabs and the Kindle Fire HDX 7, which is the newest of those. Good. They've improved the camera, acknowledging, in fact, even in their video, that people use iPads to take pictures.
Which is silly. Sorry.
But even the ads showed it, right?
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the camera you have.
Yeah.
In many cases.
I don't think the actual optics change. I think it's still 5 megapixel, but the A7 image signal processor is just so much better than the A5 chip used to be.
So it would be a good choice then, camera-wise.
Yeah.
And again, that amazing 326 pixels per inch, which even beats the very high-res Nexus 7 and Kindle Fire HDX. I mean, it's by only a couple, but it does beat
It's the same screen as the iPhone 5S.
Same resolution?
And same density.
Same density, right.
Bigger resolution, same density.
Yeah. That's going to look good.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of it's going to matter now, but I mean, it's also 64-bit, right? So
I think that's big, and they pushed that a number of times, saying that's why we can make, for instance, iWork the same across the board.
Yeah.
What else do we get from 64 bits?
Well, typically you say memory allocation, but that doesn't make any difference for
We don't even know what kind of RAM is in this.
No, it's a double register, so you can keep a lot more stuff in the chip without having to go out to RAM, which is basically like, you want a lot of RAM, so you don't have to go out to disk. The same way you want a lot of registers, so you don't even have to go out to RAM. And the ARM V8 architecture is so much better than the V7. It's just a cleaner, much better system command tools that you can get a lot more performance just by having that cleaner. I mean, it's sort of like when you went to 64-bit with the iPhone 5S. Everything just works better from a developer point of view.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to iMovie and iPhoto and all of the image processing and processing there. I think should be a lot better.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that this will allow Apple to make a new iPad that has more application RAM. That's really the only thing that I was really twitched my antenna when I heard about 64-bit on iOS, that it allows you to multitask, which hopefully will enable Apple to make multitasking less painless if they really are making the MacBook Air and the iPad Air into the professional model for business people who want to get stuff done. I hope that they're going to that's a nod towards their ability to allow you to do more things better with this thing, as opposed to being locked into one window, one task at all times.
iPad Pro rumors, Andy. We should start them now.
I started them last year. I get $1 every time someone mentions iPad Pro. I should take that URL. But that was the most interesting thing, I think, from the entire keynote. I think Apple really did loudly make that statement. The other thing is that I think this is the first time I said this during the live coverage. I think this is the first time that Apple has ever talked about the iPad working with documents. Because it said because the new A7 processor allows you to work with more documents allows you to open documents faster. Like, okay, good. So you're not teaching us to play the piano on this. You actually understand that we will probably be taking this out and editing Microsoft Office stuff on this.
I have to see how it's going to work. But I mean, the amazing thing was them saying that they have feature parity between the desktop and iOS on iWork. I mean, that's a huge thing. And it's one of the things, the Surface, I think its big failure was Microsoft not doing Word for Touch. I keep saying that, but I think had they done that, they would have gotten a lot more traction than they did.
Well, I think if you look at having iWork being free, having collaboration now available, having parity across the platforms, I think there's it's really a compelling story for maybe not large businesses that are still stuck in Word, but a lot of small businesses. I think smaller schools, that type of thing. I think it's very compelling.
When they announced iWork collaboration, I pulled a Scott Bourne. I took Google Docs out of my pocket, I threw it on the ground, and I stomped on it.
I was kind of
so painful.
Yeah, exactly.
And it will work on Windows, right? If you use the web browser.
In the browser.
Yeah, it works quite well.
Not only that, but I've been using it on a Chromebook that costs $200, and it's not bad at all.
Isn't that interesting?
Well, and I think that the interesting thing will be to see how, for organizations that are really using it, the real question is how does the document management work in comparison to Google Docs, because that's part of it, is setting up permissions and who's going to be able to do what, and all of those things are still things that that may not be totally refined in the first round, but I think that's going to be important for Apple to pay attention to now that they have collaboration figured out. I mean, it's a huge jump to be able to do collaboration on a document that you can actually send to a client and be proud of, rather than the crud that comes out of Google Docs. And we use Google Docs every day, but man, I just don't understand why they didn't.
It's utilitarian. It's
very
bare bones. Yeah,
it's like the AK-47 of Docs.
Yeah.
You can't set up a 16:9 in Google's online presentation tool. You can't set up 16:9. You have to download some third party's template.
Horrible. Making me cry, Alex.
It does make Keynote very useful if you can create a Keynote and have feature parity, which you haven't had in the past. Create a Keynote on the desktop and bring it to and just open it on the iPad.
What I'll be interested to see with Keynote is if they go into a position where you can actually present remotely, or having multiple people being able to present at the same time in a collaborative mode.
Wow.
Because we do a big chunk of what my business is to do collaborative events. Right. So we have we have one coming up 9 different cities around the world, and being able to have a singular keynote that everybody's running from place to place, and you're not streaming it. It's all local to everyone. That's kind of the holy grail of that process. And so I think that's the kind of thing that I think Apple would be. Hopefully that they're looking at it if they haven't already done it. I haven't downloaded it yet. So.
You're watching MacBreak Weekly. We've got Renee Ritchie from iMore and Alex Lindsay. Nice to have you, Andy Ihnatko, and from MacCast, Adam Christensen, talking about the big Apple announcements. This is Apple news, too, and we'll talk about 703 and what it does on the iPhone in just a little bit. Also, a new job for David Pogue. Our show today brought to you by our friends at Shutterstock.com. We have to update this every time, the copy point, on how many images. It is now over 30 million royalty-free stock images. They added 200,000 this week alone, so it's going up and up and up and up. New images all the time, so every time you go, you get something new. The best search engine of any of these companies, because you can find, not only search for nouns, like, I don't know, give me a noun, owls. I'm going to search for owl pictures. But you could also search for nouns with modifiers like happy owl, sad owl. How about, because it's Halloween, a scary owl? Can we get some scary? That is a good one. Ooh, here's spooky owls. Ooh. So you have so much fun with Shutterstock.com. I want you to go there right now and not spend money. You'll never hear me say that. Not spend money, but instead just create a free account, because then you can collect images into your Lightbox, share them with colleagues, use it as inspiration. This is a great place to go. Don't forget, too, not only photos, but also illustrations, vector art, and video as well. 1.3 million of the best royalty-free stock videos. They have featured clips, free clips. I want you to visit Shutterstock.com, create that free account, start playing with the light boxes, take a look at the color wheel too. You can actually, and this is important for designers, say I want it to be, in this color palette. You can have, green scary owls, or better than green, whatever, Pantone 3782 or whatever. They've got an amazing iPad app, which I bet will look even better and be so sweet on the new iPads, which allows you to search on the go, display images during presentations. It won a Webby Award. Just gorgeous. Multilingual customer support, more than a dozen countries. Full-time customer support throughout the week. Shutterstock.com. Get that free account. You don't need a credit card. Start playing with it. If you see something you want, maybe you want to get the subscription we have, the 25 image a day subscription, or buy a package of images, use our offer code MacBreak1013 and you'll get 25% off right out of the box. That's a pretty big discount. MacBreak1013 for 25% off at Shutterstock.com. We thank them so much for their support of MacBreak Weekly. I would imagine that a lot of their users, if not the majority, are Mac users and very interested in the Mac Pro. All right, so let's, I'm just curious. How many of you will buy an iPad Air? All of you?
Probably me.
Maybe.
But that's only because I saved over. I don't know. I'd be a little back and forth if I hadn't. But I still have a 3, so it's a huge jump for me.
So it's 3 definites, 1 maybe, and I'm probably going to end up getting the iPad Mini with Retina display. How many of you Mini with Retina?
I'll get that one too.
You too, yeah. You're not going to get it, Andy? No. Why thumbs down, Andy?
I have absolutely no need for a mini iPad because I use my iPad as a real computer. So if I'm leaving the house with an iPad, it's with a big one.
You want the big one?
I want that big editing window. I want that big battery. For me, the mini is just too cramped. The apps that I want to use on it are just of no use to me, and that's great.
You're not nearsighted enough then, because what I do is I just put it right. I take off my glasses, I put it right here, and it's the same angle as it's the same size as the big one.
I think that works great.
Do it like this. I don't look so good on the. I can do it with the
phone.
phone.
It means that facial recognition software at the stadiums won't recognize you as the guy who got drunk and dropped his pants in the middle of the 3rd second.
I got a picture on my Mini. All right, let's see. Now we can also stipulate that. Let's assume you have infinite money, because I understand that this is starting to add up here. We got a Mini with Retina. We got a iPad Air. How about a MacBook Pro with Retina? 13?
I kind of like the 13.
13. 2 13s?
They said the 13 is lighter and thinner. They didn't say whether the 15 was lighter or thinner yet, and I haven't had a chance to check.
Yeah. 15? Anybody? 15? Alex, we're just going to assume you're buying everything.
So the thing is, I just want to make sure that before I get,
this isn't just for you.
I'm put it, it's a company,
This is for
So this is, I don't buy anything
Pixel
personally. I don't own anything. I just have a company that owns lots of things, and so we use this for live production, and so we're always upgrading our main systems to the fastest whatever we can find.
But as Renee has pointed out many times, the original MacBook Pro with Retina really is underpowered for the amount of pixels it's pushing.
That's been my complaint about the Retina.
Yeah.
Is that I just felt like they didn't have enough graphics power to push it correctly, and so I think that now hopefully this fixes that and actually makes it a real Retina.
I have the 2011 Thunderbolt and it 15, and it works great for me. So I as much as I'd like to upgrade, I don't need to upgrade, so I probably won't.
I had that one, Adam. I had that exact computer, and then I got the Retina MacBook Pro, and it's like broadband. You can't go back. It's just
I know that's why I don't want to go forward.
I don't know.
Don't go forward because you can't go back.
Exactly. I had a different experience. It's like I had a loaner for like about a month and a half, maybe 2 months, and whereas when I had to send back the 10-inch, the 11-inch MacBook Air, I really felt some abandonment issues. I liked the Retina display on the MacBook. I just didn't need it. I mean, this is not something that I'm spending my time with my face close enough to it that I really appreciate it. And I'm sort of going through a minor crisis of faith this month, especially after seeing today's announcements, because I feel as though I'm going to need to either buy a brand new iPad, because mine is now 2 or 3 years old, or keep using the iPad as my iPad, but buy a MacBook Air, because now that they've got the Haswell processors, damn, that's a lot of battery life, and that really tips the scales in favor of wanting to have this thing. And now that the prices have dropped on the Retina MacBook Pro, though, now that it's actually, I think, the thinness of this is now so thin that I feel as though it actually makes a difference. And so now I'm thinking, geez, do I spend $1,300 on either a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air, or save some money and just simply get the best iPad Air I can get? Today, I can't tell you what direction I'm going to go in.
I know exactly what you mean. For me, it's just raw pixel count because the Retina MacBook Pro, it looks great, but you can also put it into that non-Retina mode, and then you have so many pixels to do Final Cut or Photoshop or anything that I just can't use anything else anymore. But it's exactly what Alex said. That Retina tax was so high on that device. Anytime you try to do anything with Windows flying around, you could just go make a cup of coffee. So I'm looking forward to the new one, especially I think the 13-inch is going to be amazing because it's really light, really thin. It's essentially a Retina MacBook Air, which is the machine I've always wanted. And I have the new Air, and whenever I get small text, I die a little bit inside, like with the current iPad mini. So I think the Retina 13 is going to be the sweet spot for me.
Yeah, I think Apple's entire lineup, both in the iPads and their notebooks, has gotten to the point now where they're back at that hitting every price point. I joked a little bit, in terms of pricing and availability. Some consumers are going to be really confused. I mean, it's almost going back to just in terms of pricing of models and the slight variations in options to the performance days. Not that bad, but I mean, you get my point. There's so many options. Like I'm hemming and hawing. Do I want the iPad mini with the Retina display, or am I going to get the full size one, or am I going to get both? Or I mean, there's just they've hit every little hole and every little price point for everybody. But at the same time, for guys like me, there's just slight differences between each one, and you got to kind of decide what compromises am I going to make, what things am I going to do with it. You have to think long and hard, I think.
Do we think, Renee, that the Retina has solved the speed issues, that the moving to Haswell, the Iris graphics on the 13-inch and the GeForce on the higher end 15-inch, is that going to eliminate those slowdowns?
Yeah, my understanding is that it does. The first generation of every Retina device has been painful, like the iPhone 4, the iPad 3, the Retina MacBook Pro, because Apple is redlining those GPUs. They are firing at maximum all the time, and that limits what they can do when you start adding extra load to them. But like with the A6 chipset, now the A7 chipset, the Haswell processor, and I forget the quad-core one, I think it's Crystalwell or something on the 15-inch. The new Intel chips are just way better at pushing around those pixels, and that it'll sort of do in third gear what it was trying to do in fifth or sixth gear, and that should make just enough difference for it to become enjoyable again.
I'm just going to say I did not enjoy it before, but you convinced me to hate it.
No, it was great except for those times when you tried to do like expose, for instance, or you tried to move a window around.
Sliding whole windows, things like that. Yeah. There was some tearing and stuff like that. By the way, I'm only 20 minutes away from Mavericks. Very excited about that.
It's huge.
Our Skype will go HD again as soon as that happens.
My 703 has downloaded on the iPhone. Interesting, they tell me in the chat room, one of the things I didn't like about iOS 7 was all that swooming and whoop, whoop, although...
I like that part.
Yeah,
it makes me feel like I'm working harder.
And I do admit that it's better on a 5S where there's enough horsepower to kind of make it more smooth. You said it would be, Renee. But apparently
the problem is that
the setting now to turn off motion turns it off completely.
The biggest problem that I had with iOS 7 is that it wasn't interruptible. I mean, all the icons come flying out like warp space, but on the older versions of iOS, the minute you touched the screen, the animation ended, or you could start moving things, and now they make you wait till the end of the animation, and I'm hoping that gets fixed eventually, because then it won't matter how long the animation takes. You'll just be able to use it whenever you want to use it.
So what's new in 703? Well, as you mentioned, the keychain now is iCloud. That's great. I feel bad for the folks at 1Password because...
But not LastPass.
LastPass goes into other platforms.
Yeah, we use it across the company.
And so does 1Password. So if you're using more than just Apple stuff...
Well, but not only that, for us, it's the fact that we use it as an enterprise level. Right. So we're sharing... I can share passwords with other people in the company without giving them the password.
Right. I think that's great.
The biggest problem for me is the master password, because as far as I know, iCloud Keychain doesn't let you have a PIN code or master password. And so I just can't use it because I won't give my phone or my computer to somebody who can then access all of my credit cards
Suddenly
and all of my
it's
websites.
all there, yeah.
Yeah, I want that master password to be like an extra layer of protection between my computer and people who aren't me.
Also in 703, there's an update to the Touch ID lock screen. I think it's slower to go into slideshow mode, something like that. Wikipedia search and Spotlight, along with web search and Spotlight, obviously clearly influenced by Microsoft's new Windows 8.1 search. You're nodding as if I'm not making a joke.
They took it out. That was in iOS 6, and they took it out for no good reason in iOS 7.
Put it back. Put it back.
Yeah.
Fixes iMessage bugs, iWork app improvements, accelerometer fixes. People were complaining about the accelerometer in the Compass app. The Compass app being off.
It's always off. Has it ever been accurate?
No.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it will be now.
I always look at it. I move my phone around. I'm like, there's no way I am not pointed that direction.
It's a phone. Siri and voiceover issues are fixed, although somebody in the chat room is saying that Siri was turned off for him with the update. So make sure you check. Fixes a lock screen bug, bold text setting for dial pad. Since those nice thin sans serif fonts were too little for some people. Anyway, it's worth, always upgrade, right? According to QNX Monkey in our chat room, the keychain will now no longer work unless you have a passcode set. That makes sense, right? Yeah. That's what Renee was talking about. You don't want to have everything.
You should never have anything that has your passcode. If you've got mail in general, like really, like if you have mail on activated on your on any device that is walking around, you should have at least some kind of key code, because people, once they get into your mail, there's all kinds of bad things that can happen.
So that's up now, and probably should you're the one who said don't ever get the first version of any OS update.
I'll put it on test machine.
Don't get the second fix, because the first fix introduces new bugs. Get the second fix, 702. Yeah. Now we're at 703. If you're in production, it's probably okay to go to iOS 7 now, right?
Well, I went early, and I pay the price every once in a while because it's. Have you had your iOS 7, like your phone crash?
Oh yeah, many times.
Yep. And what's great is that I haven't had time to get mine replaced, and so my button doesn't work, my little off button.
Yeah.
So if it crashes, you just have to run out of battery.
No,
there is no way to turn it off. There's no way to reset it without that. Without the tube.
Sad. You better get a new phone, dude.
I found that you can burn the battery from 90% to 0 with the phone on all the time. If you just walk around and go like this, it only takes about 20 minutes to get down.
Apple says
to nothing.
they've also fixed the blue screen of death, because there was that iWork blue screen of death. They say they fixed that specifically.
I didn't have that blue screen of death.
I tried.
I got it to work. You could force it.
Got it to work.
I really wanted a blue screen on my iPhone.
Like, where's my blue screen?
Oh, there, you just can't get to it anymore.
Yeah. So I guess that's pretty much the story on iOS 703, now available for your iPhone, and I presume iPad. Is it iPad as well?
Yeah.
I think it would have to be, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, wait a minute. Somebody's connecting me with a specialist. I didn't click anything, but Gentina Maria wants to talk.
Let's start chatting and talking to.
Hey, Gentina Maria.
You got to say start chat.
I don't know. Really?
Say hi. How's it going? We're on MacBreak. Don't tell her we're on.
I have to tell her we're on MacBreak. Hey, when will the new Mac Pro ship? How can I assist you? When will the new Mac Pro ship? Let's see what Gentina Maria says. This is probably an invasion of privacy, except she's not a real
audio
person, right?
Maybe
she is.
Probably not her last name though.
Oh, when you go to 703, you get the hola, hello, auf Wiedersehen, bonjour thing. I got to start all over.
Jumbo.
What's up with that?
That's
that
not
was really
nice.
Yeah, right before the show, and I don't know my iCloud ID. So you get to the point where you have to put your iCloud ID in. I can't get to one.
This is a point update. They shouldn't be a complete.
Anytime they change iCloud, they make you sign back into it. So this added the iCloud keychain stuff. So you've got to sign back into iCloud.
And you got to sign back into your Wi-Fi network. I mean, it's weird.
Update
with the over-the-air updates now. And
choose a Wi-Fi network.
Yeah,
doomed.
You got to put in your password.
I got to choose the FBI surveillance fan again. I really do want to. Oh, see, it knows it though, so I'm just going to choose it. Oops, cancel. It has a check mark. Oh no, it does want the password. Why is it? So it's because of the iCloud update?
Yeah.
Because it didn't do it for 702, did it?
No. And it'll only ask your password if it's not restoring an encrypted backup, which unfortunately the iCloud ones aren't yet.
Wait a minute, it's not a question mark, it's an exclamation mark. Incorrect. Oh, God. What did she say? I will be more than happy to answer your questions about shipping. Cool. When will it ship? This is a bot. Otherwise, it wouldn't say that, right? A human wouldn't say that. A human would say, oh, yeah, well, I can't tell you, or something. It wouldn't say, I'll be more than happy to answer that question.
It'll say December. Didn't you watch the keynote?
I think I'm talking with a bot.
Or was someone following a very specific instruction?
Do you think she's pasting it in?
It's got a flow chart.
Yeah, she's searching through her internal.
I don't know. Why did he ask me that?
Is this store help or Mac help?
I don't even know how I got here. It's apple.com.
Or is it?
It just
It's a phishing
happened.
site. They're fishing for Leo's.
I did buy the MacBook Pro with Retina 15-inch.
You start asking her non sequiturs like, what is the temperature in Zimbabwe?
What is it like where you are?
Yeah, what's the color of the sky in your world?
She's really thinking. She's calling for a manager right now. Oh, ... I'm checking the info here in our Apple online store. Well, I could do that.
You should tell her that.
Please allow me just a few more moments.
No, you should respond. I found it. It's December.
Oh yeah. I just found it. Never mind. I'm feeling terrible now. I would be terrible on one of those prank shows, you know. I'd feel guilty. ...
We totally buried the lead, Leo. Not only is there no Touch ID on the iPads, there's no gold option.
Yeah, I'm shocked there's no gold.
Oh, are you really? Did you really think that Apple's going to have someone hold up like this big, huge tablet of
This is
gold?
opulent. But I like opulence.
Opulence.
The only person who would actually be using one of these big gold iPads is the sort of person who wants to walk around with pointy shoes with tassels hanging off the point.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the only thing about that is that we made a lot of fun of the gold iPhone on this show. And it is the only one. It is the only one I've seen in the wild. Like literally, the only iPhone 5S that I've seen in the wild is the champagne one.
It's the only acceptable option, Alex.
I understand that you have one, Leo, and I don't have one yet. I've been busy.
Opulence. I has it.
I have a slate gray. It's in a case,
okay.
but-
There you go.
It's
Okay,
not
you've
that
proven me
gold.
wrong.
That's
There
one
we
of
go.
the. That's one of the reasons. It's just not that gold. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know, it's beautiful.
It's precious to
It's
you, Leo.
opulent.
Now you just need one of those little dinosaurs.
They're precious. And I do like the fingerprint reader. Okay, now here we go. Set up iCloud Keychain. iCloud Keychain, this is new. Keeps the passwords and credit cards information you save up to date on the devices you approve. Information is encrypted and cannot be read by Apple. So let's press the setup. Your security code could be used to set up the keychain on a new device. Use passcode. So now it wants my phone number. I'm not sure why.
It should have that. It's your phone.
It's the same phone I'm using. Thank you. Enter a phone number. Oh, it's going to send me a text message. Now it's saying, welcome to iPhone. Get started. Well, that was a very odd experience. I'm not sure. Maybe it's going to send me a text message later.
Just thinking about it.
Working. I do wish they'd had the Touch ID. Why do we think they didn't do Touch ID in the new iPads?
I think they want to figure it out. Like
You're
why?
right, it's too early. It's only been a couple of weeks.
Let the 5S do its thing and the next version has it really. They'll knock. Why have a whole bunch of people have bugs rather than just the folks with the 5S?
Yeah.
Also, don't they want to keep that component for
the Pro
for the huge something? You sure? They sell so many more iPhones than they do iPads. And if they want to have a bottleneck, don't they want to make sure that they're not causing the bottleneck? They're not cutting their own throats there
Because of the iPad.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of too. Is if they just can't make enough sensors.
I'm sure they'd like to. As Sarah Lane pointed out, once you use the iPhone 5S and you get used to it, you really don't want to type in your ID. It's just a pain. It's more of a pain in the butt. Oh, hey, Mavericks. To set up Mavericks, click continue.
You're so adventurous.
Oh, this is so exciting. I've got 2 updates in one day. I'm feeling very
updated.
Did you read that? I forgot to read it.
It's like Christmas and your birthday all wrapped together, Leo.
Are we recommending that people do this, what I'm doing now, which is installing in place?
Maybe not while they're on a show, but...
Oh, come on.
It's just
Never stopped Leo before.
Never stopped me before. Preparing to install, your computer will restart automatically in 8 seconds.
Leo,
check what the chat person said.
I forgot the chat person.
The chat person.
Oh, no. Oh,
What'd she
are
say?
you still there? Not till December. Great, thanks. Gotta go. Gotta go.
Upgrading.
Oh, I am upgrading
to Mavericks.
to Mavericks. Bye, Gentina
I guess it's
Maria.
waiting for you now.
Okay,
You're
now
gonna get that message
Mavericks
like,
wants
oh,
me. Click restart. Okay. Close other applications. Yes, that's fine. Bye, chat room. Wow, is this multitasking or what? While my computer's rebooting, I'd like to talk to you about hover.com. Maybe by the time the ad's done, Mavericks will be installed. I doubt it. It finished that, it said like half an hour, 2 minutes ago. It just like, all of a sudden.
You got better bandwidth.
Yeah. Hover.com is the reliable domain name registration and management service. It's easy, it's simple, it's no BS. They think everyone should be able to take control of their online identity by having their own domain name. This is like the one way you can really do it effectively, so that your email always goes to that domain. You can use Hover to forward it to Gmail or anywhere else you want. And if you decide someday, I don't want to use Gmail, I want to use Joey's Mail, you just change it, but your email address doesn't change because you own that domain. That's great. Hover takes all the hassle out of owning and managing domain names. Very easy to use, friction-free, powerful domain name management tools. Clean, as you can see on the website, clean, simple website. Visit hover.com /MacBreak right now. We're going to give you a little discount, but let me tell you a little bit more about this. By the way, they now offer Google Apps. Basically, everything you already love about the full suite of Google's productivity apps, Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Docs, but at your domain name. So it's like mail.mydomain.com. It's awesome. You can, if you already have the domain name, they can do it too. But the nice thing is, you get support from Hover, not Google, and Hover really is good at support.
Actually, that means that someone actually is there to answer the phone.
Yeah, Google, a Python script answers the phone.
Yeah.
With Hover, it's actually a human. In fact, a human empowered to help fix. What's great about Hover, they won't put you on hold till they solve the problem. I love Hover.
That's actually a huge sale point. I'm sorry, I'm just like
it's the same price.
Again, we use a lot of Google,
but
with
support,
you can actually call.
Yeah, 25 gig storage on the Gmail, 30-day free trial, so you can cost you nothing to try it.
Yeah, but once you try it, how do you get out of it?
You could also, Chris Hover is domain registrar. You can register all the big domain names, .com, .net, .org. They also have .pro, .tv, .mobi, .biz, .io.
That's what I always want.
I want L.io, then I'd be Leo. Think it's gone?
There's no EO, there's no Estonia.
There must be EO somewhere. L.e.
You don't want to get Captain?
LeoLaporte.me is still available. So LeoLove.com.
For the next 10 seconds.
That's available?
Now everyone's watching.
Oh, no, it's $349 as a premium. Somebody's thinking, Leo will buy this. LionLaporte.com. I like that. Or Leo Laporte us. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things you might want to look at is going for, if you can't get the .com, which you usually can't, you get the .net many times. That's probably a little bit better than some of the other weirdo ones, like Mobi. I never understood the Mobi.
I think a lot of people use it to separate their mobile
but I don't
web
think
pages.
Even with twit.tv, people still ask me, twit.tv.com? No.
Right.
Twit.tv.
Right.
So, and you think they'd know about that one. .net is always, of course, available at hover.com. Give them a shot. You get 10% off when you use the offer code MacBreak. That makes it even more desirable. And their concierge service makes it easy to move your sites to Hover. I did that.
This is all we use.
I got them off the GoDaddy. And
I moved all of mine, too. It's fantastic.
Well, it's Canadian, so you know they're nice. Yeah, did you really?
Oh, yeah. I love Hover.
I do, too. Hover.com/MacBreak and use the offer code MacBreak and you get 10% off. Well, I got to tell you, the OS X install is just going great here. Can you see my screen?
Ooh.
Not that one.
Ooh.
I might have to hold it up because it's great for you, but it's not great for me.
I bet you the Upstate doesn't like your monitor input.
Oh, if I just take the monitor off, maybe that's it. Sure, that's all it is.
Give it a shot.
It's getting a little hot.
Doesn't like the mirroring.
Oh, you're right. It was the mirroring. Because now it's working fine. You can't see it, but it's 31 minutes to install, just like that. So that's what it was.
Just call me the MacBreak tech support.
You are good.
Yeah, you know.
Man, I don't think Gentina Maria would have known that.
I plug a couple monitors in.
Hey, Gentina Maria, what is this thing I'm seeing? So I'm going to leave that off until we're done. Or maybe I can put it in now. Maybe now it wouldn't confuse it.
Maybe.
I bet it would. You probably shouldn't.
Well, it's probably because the OS, the installer doesn't have the
external screen. It's too simple.
Yeah.
Too simple.
Why are you doing this?
Why are you installing an operating system in the middle of your show, you fool?
Well, I don't know. You get one person who just wrote 4,600 words during the show. It is posted. It is in my editor's hands. I'm now done. Okay, now
Is it you? Wait a minute.
Really important
Wait a minute. You filed?
Yeah.
He's been awfully quiet.
He's good. All I've heard was tick, 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 tick.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Anako.
Wow. Round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is
Multitasker.
called a working writer.
Extraordinaire.
Don't I?
He's a working writer. That is awesome. So will that be on the website like in minutes?
They'll probably want to read it through at least once before I click the button.
You
but
still
it'll
have
probably be
editors?
up with
How
the-
nice. That's pretty nice. That's pretty sweet.
I can finally move the camera
So I see. I'm not going to ask Alex. Are you going to buy these? Are you going to buy questions? Are dumb to ask you.
Yes.
How many of
How
the
many-
rest
how
of
many
you?
is he going to buy?
Yeah, how many? How many of the rest of you
Can't answer
are intrigued by the Mac Pro? Remember when they announced it at WWDC, all we could think is, God, that's going to be expensive and not upgradable. And why are they concentrating on aesthetics when pros couldn't care less what it looks like and just put it under the desk? But you know what? Pros maybe have that techno lust thing going.
But I think that also what pros are looking. I mean, as a pro, I guess maybe.
Yeah, you're a pro.
So I play a pro on TV. I think for me, when I really got my head around the idea that the reason that it's round is not to make it look nice, but to centralize the cooling, which greatly reduces the the overhead.
And you saw how quiet it is. It's actually as quiet as the Mac Mini.
Yeah,
which means virtually silent. I mean, it's under 15 dB. I mean, that's you can't hear it.
Yeah, and so I think that there's a lot of. I mean, we have problems right now with our in our server area in DC where we have power issues, and being able to reduce all of those would make a big difference when you have a bunch of computers stacked up. So I think that it's pretty compelling. It's a compelling machine.
I would also say that contrary to what you're saying, Leo, I think that this is the one machine that Apple really was free to go nuts on with the styling because pros don't care what it looks like. As long as it's not totally impractical to put on a desk and to maybe move around from place to place. So long as you deliver the performance, they don't care if it looks like the severed head of Estelle Getty. They'll do it. So, and also given that this is not a machine that has to have a screen attached to it, I mean, the iMac, they're done with it. They can't do anything more with it than it's a flat panel screen. There's going to be some sort of a base that you might be able to see part of while you're using it. That also provides no opportunities for real design flair. This is a computer where they can make it look like whatever they want to look like, and they can make that a combination of productive, effective feature design and just making it look awesome, just really tickling your response of Apple designs really, really cool stuff. I don't know if Apple's had a chance to do that ever since they created the swing arm Chrome iMac with a floating screen. So I think that this is. I don't think that they would create a stupid looking Mac just for the purpose of design flair. But I really have to think that part of it was we have an opportunity here to really design something that is a complete statement about we're not going to be tied to any previous design or any previous expectation. We're going to build what we want to build and show that we're the only company that can make a computer that's quite this good.
That's the Lamborghini of pro computers.
Well, yeah, and they're not pros aren't as cost sensitive, so that you can really also add all those features that the engineers, of course, want.
Right.
I heard an interesting, a pro I know said something interesting, and he said, I'm even considering getting this instead of a new MacBook Pro, and then just getting a 15-inch monitor and having that be my remote setup. Just because it's so small.
We're definitely looking at
You mean
at the size.
wait a minute, carry that around?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I have a
he
friend
does
who's
location
measuring
stuff. He's a
backpacks.
photographer. He can take his full rig, the full power of everything with him, and just a smaller monitor to use on site. And then you just, I mean,
well, there are no moving parts, so you don't have to worry about that, right?
And when you look at like what we have to do, what we used to do to take computers to on-site to do live streaming or whatever. Well, we had these massive 1650s or 1640s or whatever that had these huge cases to put our Mac Pros in. Yeah. Then these Retinas came out, and we were able to stream from those, but they're just peaking. They're just barely powerful enough. So the idea of being able to throw a couple of build like this, build 3 or 4 of them and just like slide them into a pocket, I think is actually pretty compelling.
The minute Apple showed this off on stage, one of our videographers, Martin Rice, started measuring backpacks because this is going to be the thing he puts in hotel rooms, he said.
Yeah.
Well, we actually have brought the cheese grater down to CES, and it's a pain in the butt.
Yep.
So I guess you're right.
Yeah, it sounds weird, but I mean, when you start to really think about it, and you think about the size, and
how much does it
think
weigh?
of some of the cool compartment camera bags and stuff you can get, this will actually fit in some of those larger camera gear bags, very likely.
It would totally fit in my bag. I mean,
somebody look up how much it weighs.
Now, again, Alex, you have to have one. You have to have two of them on your backpack, like the Rocketeer. That's the only acceptable.
I'm there. Well, someone else, I think Kyrock, mentioned that the other one that was the other round one that was using for heating was the Cray.
Yeah, it looks like a shrunk Cray. Cray was the one
funny.
That was a core at a core and at a seat. Had a pleather seat all the way around.
There has to be a Kickstarter to like a miniature version of like the salon seat. Just drop over it like a ring. Use it as an SD card reader or something.
Well, the funny thing is, the story is that when Steve Jobs left Apple, he went and he's the only person that ever walked into Cray to buy a computer. And he said he wanted to buy a computer to design his next computer. Wow. And Seymour Cray thought that was really funny because he designed the Crays on a Mac.
Did he really?
Yeah, that was what he said. That was his response.
What a great story.
I would really love a clear, for Kickstarter, a clear cover for the Mac Pro because it looks so good with that cover off.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Or how about like a vinyl, like a vacuum, like a paint job makes it looks like a big Pringles can. So many Kickstarter opportunities here.
Or a whiskey jar.
Deep Pan says it's 5 kilograms. That's 11 pounds. That's not light.
Lighter than a cheese grater.
A lot lighter than a cheese grater.
No, that's carryable. Yeah. 2 of them are carryable.
Yeah.
It's actually it is actually lighter than a Macintosh portable. That was 16 pounds.
Right. Well, there you go. Now, where do I find the keychain settings in 703? I know I'm jumping all over the place. I apologize, but I'm installing Mavericks. I'm installing 703. I got so many things to think about. Where is that keychain here? I don't see it. Oh well. Maybe I should get Gentina on the line.
Hey, you're ahead of me. I haven't dove in yet.
Hey, Gentina, where's the keychain? I hear this keychain thing. What is it?
She's your answer to everything now, Leo.
Yeah.
How long do I cook my turkey for on Thanksgiving?
Oh, that's good. I should have asked her that. Hey, how was Canadian Thanksgiving?
It was fantastic. It was during Singleton, so we had a lot of Americans in town, and we had to explain to them, not only is it in October, but it's on a Monday, which was very, very good.
Yeah. And you still have turkey, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
And Brome Lake duck. I mean, it was quite a feast.
Ooh, yummy, 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 yummy. It's in the iCloud settings. iCloud, mail, contacts. Oh, there it is, keychain. It's on by default, I guess. So let's tap it. And all you can do is turn it off or on. There's not a lot of, you can't reset the password or anything. Just off.
There are a lot of extra features, but Apple has a very straight line.
Yeah.
They don't wander around.
We saw that line.
Straight.
Wasn't that funny? Tim Cook showed a road sign with a meandering, crazy road, and he said those other guys, obviously pointing to Microsoft's troubles with Windows 8.
That's when he's once again talking about the difference between trying to. They're still adamant about putting a multi-touch interface on a desktop operating system.
Right.
And
or not. You got
to admit that so far the marketplace is proving them to be correct. No one has created a compelling version of that for desktops yet.
Chris Tuttle's pointing out that the internet traffic, according to Akamai, is running 66% above normal right now. And you know exactly what that is. It's not people downloading Windows 8.1. I'm almost certain.
New.
That's another good thing to point out. I mean, there's a reason why Apple gets such high adoption rates because they really do remove every barrier, every obstacle they can possibly put between a user becoming aware of an update, getting access to that update, and then downloading it. I was shocked at how difficult it was to upgrade from Windows 8 to 8.1 because I assume, okay, there is a feature called Windows Update that keeps my thing up to date. So it didn't tell me about it automatically. That's okay. I'll go into this little controller and I'll click it to have a check for updates. And it found an update to some sort of like keyboard driver. Okay. So then I flipped to another section. I left Metro land and went into desktop land, found another version of Windows Update that said, hey, good news. There's a way to add features to your device. Just purchase a key and plug it in right here. and it's supposed to be a free update.
Yeah.
And the only way to get it for me was to actually go into Microsoft.com, look for the product page. There was a link there for the update, which, glory be, launched the Windows Store app on the Windows device and gave me the free update that way. Compare and contrast to if you have a device, it tells you, oh, by the way, do you want your machine to be better? Great, click this button. I'll take care of it for you.
Right.
And the fact that it goes all the way back to like 2007 iMacs, it doesn't, and being able to skip to the head of the line, doesn't matter. You didn't buy the previous 3 or 4.
That's fabulous.
It'll just simply let you go. Yeah. That is amazing, and not a penny for that.
Yeah,
Great
I think
stuff.
we've heard from a lot of people, or I've heard from a lot of people who, for instance, wanted to get the new iPhone and so forth. And says, well, you have to have iTunes 10, and then they try to download it. It says, well, sorry, you can't download iTunes 10 on Snow Leopard. I mean, it was a great deal of frustration, and that's all gone now. Yeah. Suddenly, you're all in the same universe.
And I have to say that the entire Mac app, the Mac App Store process is like, now when I buy apps that aren't on the Mac App Store, you just kind of go, oh, this is going to be a pain for the rest of my life. This is, because 90% of the apps on my computer now, except for some really high-end Pro ones and a couple of weird people in Mexico, all of them are all on the Mac App Store. And I have to admit, if I have to compare between 2 of them that aren't, one that is and one that isn't, the feature set better be great on the one that isn't on the Mac App Store because it's such a pain.
I should point out some of the disjoint you had, Andy, was because you were trying to do it the Windows way, and Microsoft has basically shifted to the Apple's way, where it's in the App Store, and you go to the App Store, there's a big announcement, here's Windows 8.1, a free upgrade.
The software update on the Mac will still send you to the store. Where
it'll still let you know.
As Andy, it didn't send me to the store. I had to go look for it.
To me, it's that if there is a place that says click here to get updates to your machine, that should find updates to the machine.
No, I agree. It seems logical.
That's crazy. That's crazy talk.
Microsoft and Logic often don't really kind of match.
That's by far the biggest difficulty of having an office that has both Macs and Windows devices in it. If there's something that I need to do on Windows, I almost have to set that for a special day where I don't even touch a Macintosh, because I will inflict an expectation of simplicity upon Windows that Windows never promised me it was going to deliver. That's unfair of me.
Well, and if you had for instance, as Tom Merritt did, a Surface RT running Windows 8 and tried to update to Windows 8.1, suddenly you had a useless brick.
Yeah.
They've fixed that problem, but for a while they pulled the Surface RT update because it was bricking machines. I think that's a pretty serious.
It was bricking their own first-party machine, which is
their machine.
Right.
Yeah.
Not some random hardware. Their machine.
Even when they control the entire widget, that's not a widget that you want to do whatever you do widgets with.
Well, and contrast that to here I am installing OS 10 Mavericks during a show. We're down to 4 minutes.
They haven't proven that was going to work yet.
That's true.
You got wood right here. I would knock on it. That's all I'm saying.
Here. Yeah, no, I don't want to be too cocky.
Have you gone to the McKee Story Conference? Because you have brilliantly put in the ticking clock that will keep audiences riveted.
I feel like I'm an episode of 24 here.
We're going to tell you how this turned out right after the next break.
Before you restart.
What else did we learn? New iWork I'm thrilled about. iLife doesn't look, is it going to be updated? Because what this said is I'm getting iLife 11. So I don't know.
It is. The apps are updated.
It comes with drummers.
Yeah, there's new features and they got new skins.
Okay.
Yeah, and it comes with drummers.
All 64-bit.
Kyle.
Go ahead, Adam.
I said I think they're all 64-bit on iOS, so they've all been optimized for the new A7 processor, which should help.
That's awesome.
I gotta say that I
can do a lot more tracks.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was an impressive demo of the GarageBand.
You got a drummer now. Your own personal drummer built in.
I know that everyone's making fun of it, but there's an awful lot of school presentations and corporate presentations.
A drummer would be great.
But just having general things that'll kind of build. I think we're going to see. I don't know if there's more of that on GarageBand, but I know that I have made a lot of corporate music on GarageBand.
Right.
A lot. So it really is a great way. Like you get a client that just wants. They just want something that sounds like something else, and you just kind of get something kind of close, and they're very happy to have that in the back of their video rather than you buy needle drop that sounds like crap for $1,000, so.
Make your own needle drop.
Exactly. And usually in 15, 20 minutes, you can get something that the client's really excited about.
I'm also thrilled that I can use my slow motion video from my 5S now on
That's
my
pretty
actual
cool.
iOS device,
and slow it down even more. Or speed it up.
You did point out something though that I was disappointed. I was really sort of expecting Apple to give us more of a demo of here's the love that we're going to be putting into the iOS versions of iWork. Here's the love we're putting into the macOS versions of iWork. Here's the love we're putting into the macOS versions of iLife. They sort of mentioned, and we flattened this out. Oh, but here's what we've done to the iOS version of GarageBand. It's like if you keep expecting to see a lot of support for you as a macOS user, it's almost as if Apple still seems to be highlighting the efficacy and the importance of iOS and iOS devices over macOS. I think I really want to see a great new version of Aperture. I really want to see a great new version of iPhoto, and I just wasn't seeing it there. I was surprised that they would put that kind of a focus on iOS today.
Well,
show
for Pages, what they show us art text, right?
Yeah. Word art, we call it.
Yeah. Word art, that's what it's called.
And they had Eddie Q do it in a Kung Fu
bad
shirt,
word art.
Yeah, but I still think the point of that is really what they were cleanly showing was that we can do something that Google Docs can't.
But that's because you knew what to look for.
Okay,
Everybody else was looking at the bad word art going,
that's the crap.
Really? That's the feature they want to highlight?
Right.
You know, where's what is it beveled with an inner glow? Ooh. It is.
And at the same time, wasn't it a little bit disappointing to see that we saw the first version of iWork for the web well before we saw the next version of iWork for macOS, and so of course we look at this. Okay, it's a very, very flattened version where they put all the control panels and all the settings things and all the toolbars inside one window, because of course they have to because it's a web browser. But yeah, I wonder what we're going to see when they really do revitalize iWork.
Right. And
I haven't used the new version of iWork yet, but initially I have to be disappointed that they made it look like the web version, or at least I hope they didn't simply say, well, we have to make this so that we have a web component of it so that people can use these apps outside of the Apple ecosystem. And then they simply said, well, okay, well, what do we have to do to the desktop version to give it parity with the web version? I hope they didn't do that. And I hope that this is as easy to use and as comfortable to use as the previous edition is. But I'm not a big fan of everything in one window user interfaces. I mean, sometimes you have things on multiple screens. You have a use case that you really can't predict. So we'll see. But I have to admit that that's on my list of, oh dear, things to check out carefully when I get my hands on the actual code.
I was pleased, though, and I mentioned this during our broadcast, that they didn't go full screen on many of the apps. They showed that this is on a desktop. In fact, I was really pleased. They kicked things off with Macintosh. I think there was a clear message there. We're not abandoning computers. As successful as we've been with mobile, we are not abandoning Macintosh.
I still think the reason they did that was to hold the press before they talked about
force them to hear about the Macintosh.
Yeah, because I think that
we know you're here for the iPads, so just hold on. We got an hour's worth of crap.
It's the opening band. I'm telling you. Yeah. I mean, I think
at least it's on stage.
At least they didn't do what they've done a lot of times, which is just update all the hardware, update the software, not do any announcement.
Yep.
So it was great that they included it. It could have been a much shorter event. And just done iOS stuff. So I think that's great, but I do think that was the opening band.
They made a very big ecosystem play out of it. I mean, not only did they show iWork across all the platforms in the web, but they have iMovie. They did announce new features for everything. So, for example, all the stuff that used to be in the Cards app is in iPhoto now. iMovie has iMovie Theater, so when you save your movies, it goes not only on your Mac, but on your iPad, on your iPhone, and you can watch it. I hope that doesn't count against your iCloud storage, because that'll go really fast. But they did announce that you have all these new features. Even iPhoto, I think the new Photos app on iOS was made by the Color team that Apple bought, but the new iPhoto app, they had new views for the photos. Everything sort of got not just a visual refresh, but got several key features like physics in the keynotes. You can now put physics in your slide transitions, and there's new templates for numbers. So everything did get a nice little bump as well.
And I think iPhoto, either Aperture or iPhoto, I think that within the next 2 years, I think we might see Apple really look at the Photoshop market as a viable market for them to not try to replace Photoshop, but to start aggressively adding more editing features that they haven't added up until now. I think that there's at some point they're going to use that. I mean that's the they could take a lot of that business away, especially if they're giving it away for free.
Yeah. There was also, I think, every single major section contained either an explicit section, subsection, or just even a nod to this is the Apple ecosystem. This is how we've got we're giving you hardware features by expanding the software, not the hardware. We're giving those things for free. When they talked about iPad, I wouldn't call it suspiciously long, but I thought it was interesting that they spent so much time at the very, very top selling us once again on the importance of the iPad and the validity of the iPad, which is, I mean, you look around you don't see people. This is something I didn't really realize until I was writing this in my coverage, that I have seen people in Boston, tourists in Boston, using BlackBerry playbooks. I swear to God, at least twice I've seen people using BlackBerry playbooks.
They're not even Canadian.
They get at the MIT flea market?
No. I'll tell you exactly where. In Copley Square, facing Trinity Church, and in the Public Garden in front of the statue of George Washington. So
That's where those
I can
went.
exactly. So, but I have never once, not once, seen anybody in the real world using a Samsung tablet. Not once. I've seen Galaxy Notes all over the place. Of course, regular phones all over the place. I have never seen a 10-inch tab or even a smaller tab out there. So I thought it was kind of interesting that Apple spent. Tim Cook personally would come out and say, "Here is the case we're making for the iPad. Here's why it's so important, and here's why this They didn't say this, but I think the message was, here's why this is still the only real tablet that's out there." And it really was a repeat of that message. We don't just create hardware. We don't just create software. We don't just create services. We create the sun. We create the earth. We create the atmosphere between these three. We're the only company that can control the weather for each and every one of our users. And come on in, it's sunny.
Well, and they have a challenge because they have to face companies like Amazon and Google that can give hardware away because they make money on the back end. And so Apple has to have something, right? Hey, speaking of the playbook, BBM is out on the iPhone. Hey, this is a pretty exciting day for me. I can use, send me push notifications by all means.
Can we swap pins, Leo?
Pardon me?
We swap BBM.
That's the only problem. I need to know your PIN, your BlackBerry ID.
Does that make it more secure?
You can email me and ask for it, but it's really tedious.
Who would you? And yet millions have downloaded it, according to the stories. So I'm going to give him my email address because you know what? I got to get in line to use BlackBerry Messenger. Yeah, sure, you can download it, but
my absolute favorite thing is their implementation of push notifications. I'm going to show you because they're brilliant.
Oh no!
Here, this is the implementation of push notifications for group messaging.
Let's see here.
As we sow, it shows you the first two characters of every message.
That's it? Oh, man, that's useless. S-O, W-I, and A-S. Well, I think I know which message I want to read.
And I couldn't even share this message in a group chat. I mean, that screenshot in a group chat.
Sorry, not interested.
When you've reached the front of the line, you'll receive an email telling you, this is so, I feel like the 1990s have come back. What does that say? Is this the interface? That's a group message. Let's see. Can you show it? Oh, yeah. Well.
And once the keyboard comes up, it is never, not ever going away.
Oh, no.
Now, does it use the gestures that they put into BlackBerry 10?
It does. So originally it was not compiled to run on iOS 7, but when it failed to launch last month, they recompiled it for iOS 7. So yeah, you have like the sidebar and you have the iOS 7 keyboard now. But it's clearly... Andy, if you have tried using an Android app on BB10, you know what it's like to use a BB10 app on iOS.
All right, enough of that. Enough of that.
I don't want to be down. I mean, it's nice that they did it.
I'm surprised how many people are downloading it. It must be all teenagers, right?
I just think it's nice that the young men and women of that company are still plugging away. Like, at least you know when like potential investors are like coming in for a tour because that's the day they have to look busy. And what do you know? After random typing, they actually made an iOS client for BBM and they decided to actually release it.
The last person to leave the building, please switch off BlackBerry Messenger. Thank you.
Yeah. It's hugely popular in Sri Lanka, Leo.
Sri Lanka. Oh, I'm restarting. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, Maverick's first boot. Woohoo!
We'll see if it worked.
By the way, that last minute is like 8 minutes long.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
it was faster than expected, but boy, it says I'll be done in a minute, and it's longer than one of Leo's commercials. Now I have to wait 7 minutes to complete the installation.
It's timer
What
coalescing.
was it doing before?
It was, what was it doing before? My question exactly. It's now completing the installation. This is very stressful because an operating system install, it could go horrendously wrong.
Yes.
Yes. Seems like the type has gotten smaller. And is that the logo now? Because it's very plain.
It's like the iOS 7.
Less is more.
Very plain. Well, it's an X.
Johnny Ive has just gone,
Oh, at least you're seeing a color gradient. Oh, yeah, I can see it now. Oh, wait a minute. If you look carefully.
There's a lot of depth in there. It's 2D, but
stuff in there. There's some, like, ocean.
It's differential to the color white.
But you have to really zoom in. Our show today brought to you by 99 Designs, the world's largest design marketplace. Look, you can't do everything. We've all got our own set of skills. And, some of us, can talk for a living. Some can program for a living. Some can cook, great chefs. Not everybody can design. And there's a lot of people who shouldn't. No.
Don't.
If you can't, don't. I have huge respect for designers.
I'm not, what I think is I don't work on my car.
Right.
So, I get somebody to do that.
So if you're going to do something that needs to look good, get a designer. And the best place to go, the biggest marketplace of designers, 250,000 designers waiting for your business at 99designs.com. Whether you need a new logo, a mobile app, a business card.
I'm going to so try this. I'm not actually familiar with this service.
I once designed my own business card. Oh, man, was it ugly. I should bring it in because it still have them, a lot of them. I was too embarrassed to give it out. T-shirt, we've done T-shirt design there and have gotten great designs. Any other graphic design, you'll find the designer for your project at 99 Designs. You tell 99 Designs what you need. Dozens of designers from the community will submit designs just for you. You give those designers your feedback, help them refine their designs. Then you say, you're the one. Select them and pay for your favorite. Starting at really amazing prices, as low as $199, $299 for vehicle wrap design. I love that. Landing pages, email templates, banner ads. I mentioned chefs. Your menu should look as good as your cooking. Don't design your own menus. Go to 99designs.com. Affordable custom landing page design starting at $299. Visit 99designs.com/MBW. You'll get a $99 power pack of services absolutely free. That gives you more designer time and attention. 99 Designs will bold and highlight, feature your design project in the marketplace. You'll get nearly twice as many submissions. 99designs.com/MBW. Mobile app design is great. Go to the, do you have the landing page design there? It's 99designs.com/landing page design. I think something like that. Anyway, great stuff. 99. You know what? We don't have to go there. You go there. 99designs.com/MBW. So 4 minutes remaining to my Mavericks. So
Can I take one moment to say
yes?
My 4,600 word news item has just gone live on Grid Chicago from the Sun-Times. So
you can't tell me that editor read every word.
I'm sure that everyone was fact-checked and everything like that. I'm sure there's probably nothing to worry about. If you go to chicagogrid.com, I think it is now the feature story up there. He said
that is awesome, Andy. We have watched journalism actual happen on this show.
Exactly. This is like American Chopper, where you can actually see them build the bike and argue and throw things.
That's so cool. chicagogrid.com.
That's their business. That's the Sun-Times business site.
Very awesome. Very, very awesome.
There you go. Yes, see.
And wow,
who needs brevity?
4,600 words.
So it's sort of if you don't have time to watch the entire video.
List or what is?
It's a play-by-play of writing as the keynote was going on. So pretty much every detail and also observations as I go.
Hey, let's all go to the site and crash it.
That'll help with contract negotiations. I'm sorry to be sending so much traffic to your site.
Everyone go to what is it, Chicago Grid?
chicagogrid.com. Everybody right now. And then immediately go to Andy's article so they know that's what drove the traffic.
Yes.
Hey, Andy,
I hit refresh 7 seconds ago, and it's not responding.
We killed Chicago Times. Yeah. They really ought to be on Squarespace. Really, it's not loading. Look at that. We killed
It's not
it.
loading for me either.
The power.
Andy can't have nice articles.
Apple may not let me into their
Well, that's okay
events.
because you're still waiting for you're still waiting for Maverick, so I can just read it. Am I off base comparing this latest?
No, it's only 2 minutes remaining.
After an
2
already
minutes.
Great Stadium Rock show. It's the end of 2013, and Apple has already keynoted out with their seaboats out, so to speak. Oh, please stop me if you're
We're gonna get to our picks of the week, but I'd like to give each of you while I'm less than a minute remaining, so you know that's going to happen anytime in the next 15 to 20 minutes. While I'm rebooting Mavericks, final thoughts on the announcements Apple made today. Let's start with you, Adam Christensen.
I'm excited for new iPads. It's probably the biggest thing. It's what I've been waiting for before they came out.
I skipped 4, like I think a lot of us.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. So I have a 3. I'm excited to get the Air, thinner, lighter. I also I love my Mini. Actually, my Mini's become my main iPad that I carry, that I grab when I leave the house. So having a Retina one's just going to be that much nicer. So that's what I was most excited about. But then I was, the fact that Mavericks is free, I get to save $20. That's great too. So lots of good stuff in there. I'm looking forward to seeing the new iWork apps. I don't know. Lot to parse.
Andy, pick a couple of those 4,600 words.
I just overall, I'm just really, really happy overall to see that the product line, I think, makes a lot more sense than it used to. I think because the fact that they dropped the price on the MacBook Pro, now it's more of a credible choice for so many other people. Now that they have given more attention to the iPad Air, especially with what you now do with the A7 processor, now it is even a greater value if you're buying a $500 tablet now. And with the availability of a less expensive iPad Mini, now I still think that the price of the Retina, of the mainstream Retina iPad, is $400 compared to $230 for the Nexus 7 and the Kindle. That's still a hell of a lot more money. So that's more. It's kind of an interesting question. But now that there's a $299 iPad, I think that now there's a lot more opportunity for people who have wanted this sort of technology but maybe have not been able to justify it. So I think it was a great day.
Good. I, for one, am just a little baffled why, given that they said the Mini's coming out this month, there's only 9 more days that they couldn't give us a date. What it means is for the next 9 days, you and I and a lot of other people are just, because I think they're going to be in short supply. I really do think that there are issues with that Retina display. We're just going to be watching. Because you got to be one of the first people in line to get one.
I'm never the first person anymore. I just wait until the line subsides. No, I'm just busy, and then I go. I still have a 5. I don't have the 5.
You're the guy I used to. I remember in the early days of MacBreak Weekly. No, you'd call Travis down at the Apple store and say, "Whatever Apple's announcing today, put aside one."
Yeah, exactly. They don't do that anymore. They're like, "Well, yeah, we can't help you anymore." So, but yeah, I think most of the stuff was incremental. Very, very exciting. I think the things that I'm still kind of keyed up about is collaborative in iWork and the fact that all the software is moving to free. If that moves to Pro, it obviously affects my business dramatically. But even now, I think that those two things are very, very interesting and unusual trajectories that could put a lot of Apple's competitors under a lot of pressure.
I am a little surprised they didn't do the free Pro stuff.
I don't know if they're going to.
May still do it.
I don't even know if that'll happen. If it happens, it's almost at a level of antitrust. Maybe
that's why, right?
The thing is that it would. Like for Adobe and Avid, it would be a catastrophic effect because you're talking about Mac Pros that are designed to run 4K, which is what's going to happen next year. 4K is going to be huge ironically on the web more than TV. But being able to produce Mac 4K is going to be a big deal, and being able to do that inexpensively, even the $300 if you have to spend it, but still, it's going to be a huge hit. How do you? As a company like my company, we buy more Motion than After Effects because, I have a handful of After Effects things which we use a lot, but I'd rather, use Motion because it's $50 each.
Renee, your thoughts?
I understand a lot of people now, they read the blogs. It's almost like if you read the entire plot to a movie on Wikipedia and then go see the movie and think that it's boring, that's a problem that we're going to have to reconcile because more of the stuff that Apple does at such huge scale is going to leak out. And if you read that stuff, you're going to watch an event and say, it's not that interesting. There were no surprises. The best way to not be surprised is not to read the internet, which is not realistic. I do think that, I was disappointed there was no Touch ID on the iPads because, like I've said before, using a PIN code now makes me feel like an animal. I want to have Touch ID everywhere. I want it on my house. It's just a great technology. I think the iPad Air is fantastic. The Retina iPad Mini is fantastic. I'll be getting both because I honestly don't know which one I'm going to like better. Previously, it was about, portability or that great screen. Now it's like portability and productivity, maybe. And I'm in the same kind of quandary Andy mentioned. I'm leaning towards the Mac Pro 13-inch Haswell update, but there's so many good options now. iWork going free, iWork going collaborative is huge. I use Google Docs all the time. I do not enjoy it any of the time. And if Apple can nail the sort of workflow that Google provides and do it in an elegant, non-eye abrasive way, I think that will be fantastic. But this to me is once again, and I don't know how long they can do this for because it makes them suffer the rest of the year, but for the last 2 Octobers in a row, Admiral Tim Cook has stood on the top of his aircraft carrier and said, "Gentlemen, clear my skies." And they have just let everything loose. And it's a fairly stunning display of Apple's ability to project product at this point. And it'll be interesting to see what they can do now that they can make 2 iPhone lines, 2 iPad lines, a bunch of computer lines all at once as we start going into next year and maybe more diverse product ranges.
I did order the 15-inch MacBook Pro Retina.
I have to say, when you look at that much new hardware that came out, especially the Mac Pro, which is extremely pregnant for a lot of people that want to upgrade, I'm going to make the big prediction. The Q4 will be the biggest quarter of Apple's history.
Big quarter.
I'm gonna go out there and say by 20%. Like it's going to be a huge update. Yeah. I mean, huge quarter.
Yeah, I should have saved the money on the Retina, bought Apple stock. I could have paid for it.
You probably could.
But that was dumb. That's our advice. Don't buy any of these crap. Just buy Apple stock. Then buy it when you make the stock.
Spoken by a bunch of people that don't have any stock.
Yeah, none of us do that because we don't want to play in that space. But I got the one with the NVIDIA graphics, not the higher end one. Yeah. Are you buying stock, John? No.
You are not an advisor. Don't listen to you.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a stock advisor. What is the disclaimer I'm supposed to give for the SEC's benefit? If you listen to me for stock tips, you're a nitwit. How's that?
Oh, sure. Dazzle us with your legal boilerplate.
Here's the iCloud keychain. So you saw it when I upgraded to 703 on the iPhone 5S. Same thing here. iCloud keychain keeps passwords and credit card information. Set it up, and then I guess in order to set it up, I'm going to have to give it my iCloud credentials. Although I already did in the previous screen on the. This is a Maverick's first boot. That desktop is mine, I think, not Maverick's, but I don't know. Oh, now the iPhone didn't ask for a 4-digit numeric iCloud security code.
It was your PIN code on the iPhone.
So it's already the PIN code on the iPhone. I don't need to do it again, but since I don't have a PIN code on the Mac, I'll do it. It doesn't have to be the same, right?
No.
And then it says, give us a phone number that can receive SMS messages, and this will be verified if you forget. I'm going to see if I can use a Google Voice, because sometimes you can use a Google Voice number, sometimes you can't. That'd be nice if I could. It can receive an SMS, so it didn't say no. Setting up your Mac. You can show this now. I don't think we're going to give away any secrets. Text Expander warning. I have to reopen for Text Expander. It's going to ask for my iCloud password.
Yeah, Text Expander and a bunch of apps that use accessibility got kind of washed out because Apple moved entirely where that is run in settings. So you have to go to security now in settings and enable them on an app-by-app basis.
Oh, okay. That's going to be a pain, so I won't do that right now. Somebody said, go look at your battery. That's changed a little bit. Oh, look at this. Apps using significant energy. And, of course, it's just booted, so Spotlight's the first. But eventually it will show apps that are using a lot of energy. That's cool. What else should I look at? This is my first experience.
A lot of companies were not thrilled with that feature, Leo.
Yeah, they don't want you to know.
No.
But if you're on a battery device, that's great.
Flash.
I'm most excited about being able to run 2 full-screen apps at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's a nice feature.
Finally.
Let me just, remember there was a Safari update before I ran this. I would guess, that's taken care of in the Mavericks update. So you don't need to do that before you do your Mavericks update if you're going to do the Mavericks update. Yep. Digital camera raw compatibility update, though. I don't know why. I guess that's just by chance. Do you want to automatically install updates when they are ready? Whoa, that's a new feature.
No, I don't think it's new. I don't know if it's new, but you definitely don't want to do that.
What? Of course I do.
All right.
What?
Not until you know exactly what it's going to do to your computer. Anytime there's a significant update, I want to see. I always check, iMore. I always check the sites to see if there's a headline saying, "Don't, for the love of God and all that's holy, allow this new update to come in."
I always turn on automatic updates, so I'm going to turn it on.
Yeah,
here's a nice new feature: updates installed in the last 30 days. Shows you which updates because of the automatic updates.
Right.
That's probably you might want to know what got broken.
why your computer isn't starting anymore.
Anything else I should look at? There's the beautiful island of Santorini in Greece.
Maps is nice. iBooks is nice.
Oh, yeah, we have Maps and iBooks now. They've added that very nicely to my dock. My dock has kind of changed its appearance as well. All right, well, there you go. That was not a painful upgrade, and I was able to do it during the show without error, so... Always nice to take that chance.
I'll likely never launch iMessage again now that I can reply right from the notification field.
That's nice.
I'm really looking forward to that because I don't generally open it on my Mac.
Yeah,
I want that on iOS so badly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally not fair.
Yeah, that should be on the lock screen. All right. Meh.
That might be a security problem.
Yeah, you're right. All right.
Your buddy picks up your phone and is replying to your text messages right from the lock screen. I don't know.
Apple Maps knows where I am. How do it know? It's using Wi-Fi to locate me quite accurately.
People.
It even knows exactly where I am. Right next to the naked skin care and waxing.
I had no idea.
I didn't either. You learn something every day about your building.
To have a sideline business in this economy, Leo, I'm very impressed.
It's more of a hobby than a business, but all right, time for our picks of the week. Let's start with Adam Christensen. You got a pick for us?
I do. I never know if this has been picked or not before. I always
because you're not a regular. That's fine.
I try to check the website, but hopefully no one picked this. I am actually going to pick something called Flipcase, which I can't even use. It's specifically for iPhone 5C, and someone cleverly figured out that if you take the case off the back of your iPhone 5C, Apple's new case with the little holes, put it over, they wrote a Connect 4 style game for it that you play through the holes on the case, but you put it over the front of your screen to create almost like a physical board. So it's just your simple Connect 4 game. You could download it and try
That's
playing
hysterical.
Isn't that great?
That's so great.
What I love the thought and the creativity behind this, and even like the UI is set up.
It makes me want to run out and buy an iPhone 5C in a case.
Yeah, and what I'm hoping is this triggers some other creative people to create case style. I expect a lot of Kickstarters to come out of this with case style games that combine digital and physical. I love that sort of thing because I'm a big board game player. I love board games, and so anything that combines the digital and the physical, I'm always intrigued by. So I want to pick this one just because it's really cool, even though I don't have it or can't use it.
And now, as Wumper Mill says, we now know why it's the 5C. It's the 5 Connect 4. The C stands for Connect 4. Andy Anako, your pick of the week besides your great article.
Thank you very much. Two quick ones. One is a tweet that I just saw. Glenn Fleischman retweeted Bill DeRoshi saying a line that if I'd seen this 45 minutes ago, I'd be thinking, there must be a way that I can steal this line and pretend that I came up with it first. He says, now I get the tablet wars. Surface equals below, air equals above.
Ooh.
But the other pick is, believe it, it's actually a feature on the Apple TV that I had not started using until about a month ago, which is the podcast feature. Because my podcast listening has been defined by whatever phone I happen to have a podcatcher on, and so I'm either like Bluetoothing it to someplace or I'm listening to it in the car. It made me realize that using it on Apple TV sort of turns the Apple TV into like the old-timey, like old console radio of like the 40s and the 50s. It seems like there's so many podcasts where it's like a 90-minute podcast or a 2-hour podcast, and I might not have room for it in a week where I have like lots and lots of really big podcasts to listen to. But given that the living room has good speakers, it's a place where I can do cleaning or just simply lay back and relax. I'm actually using that feature a lot more. So it really got me thinking that maybe streaming podcasts as opposed to downloading them and then playing it on a mobile device is really even a better way to listen to podcasts. So I appreciate that new experience, and that's really got me using the Apple TV even more than I was using it before.
By the way, we didn't mention that, but there were rumors that maybe there'd be a new Apple TV, and there was not.
Yeah, or at least a software update.
Yeah.
It seems like, I mean, isn't there the perennial rumor that, this is the time, this is definitely the keynote in which Apple's going to announce that big huge deal they've been working on with all the major cable companies that will let you buy any channel you want a la carte for $1.99 for 8 years, and
yeah, right.
Okay, well. We just got to have you dust that off, you polish it up, and you hope that people don't check the sell-by date on that rumor every time you try to use it.
I think they just need to. I think that'll come after the announcement that Apple bought all the entertainment industry.
There's only one company left.
We just bought them, and now all their content's on iTunes,
and not on Amazon. Mr. Alex Lindsay, you brought a pile of crap. What's your pick of the week?
Oh, hold on.
It's going to be. It's a program. Is it the BlackBerry Messenger?
No. Look at me. You gotta look at me. Okay.
I'll take a picture.
Stay very still. You have to stay still.
I always get nervous when Alex does crap like this.
I've been modeling Leo's head for like a decade now. All right. Here we go. Hold on. Okay, stay still.
I take it. My eyes shouldn't move. What have you done? He's making a 3D me. Oh, it's a parallax view of Leo.
Well, it's a 3D model. It's not very. It doesn't handle distance very well.
Hey, should I show it over here? Yeah. It's ugly.
It's actually building like a low res 3D model and then camera mapping you back onto it.
It's actually Andy's coming out of my ear. Which
exactly.
Is great.
Well, it doesn't handle like monitors and stuff like that very well because they're not. But
it's kind of cool. It didn't.
It's actually building a little low res 3D model.
Is it building it as we speak?
Well, it built it.
It's getting better. Like there's more to it now.
It might be building it. But
so then what? It's called Scene.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
And then what do we do?
You don't do anything with it. That's it.
How does it compare to Catch 123D?
Well, so 123D Catch is great. It takes longer, and to be honest with you, I mean,
you did that pretty quickly.
But I just did that really quickly, and it's just something. It's fun right now. To me, I see like there's a lot of places they could go with it.
You could share this on
Facebook.
You
can share that if you want.
Is it a video? What is it?
It's just it's some kind of little 3D piece. I'm not sure what it'll do when it goes on Facebook. But it's
you can say that about most teenagers.
Yeah, exactly. So I have some of my. Yeah.
Is that free?
I think it is free. Yeah.
I'm downloading it right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make
slick.
a scene of you.
Anyway,
SEENE.
Yes.
All right.
And so anyway, it's free. Here's my. Hold on, let's see if I can. There's my.
Oh, that's cool.
Like when it works. It's my daughter.
There's his daughter, who's getting awfully big these days.
Yeah, she is.
That is kind of a neat effect.
It's just, and it's really.
It'd be great if you could make this your parallax desktop on the iPhone 5. Yes.
So I think there's a lot of places that a little, this is a free little app, but it's doing a lot of work.
That's what's always amazing to me is how much it did in such a little time.
Exactly. So
your battery's dying.
Yeah.
Turn on the Mophie.
It's always dying. That's why I have a Max.
Mr. Rene Ritchie, what's your pick of the week?
Well, I was going to pick BBM, Leo, but since we already talked
No, you can pick it. Come on.
No, but it is a great way for me to keep in contact with all my friends from crackberry.com. So it does have...
That's good. Okay.
Because they don't use iMessage very much. No, I'm picking Flint, and Flint was a great... We use Campfire for sort of our virtual office at Mobile Nations, and
That's from
the Campfire apps are not great, so I've always used Flint on the Mac. 37 signals, absolutely. And I've always used Flint on the Mac because it looks nice, it works well. But on iOS, there's just not been any great options. The first-party Campfire app, not great. Some of the third-party apps, not great. But Flint is now on iOS. So we have, here we have all the different rooms that we use on Mobile Nations for all the different sites. And I can quickly go, I can see what messages are new. I can go into, for example, iMore's Campfire room and see what everybody's doing. And it's never as good, it's never as good on mobile as it is on a computer, but it's good enough that I can quickly see what people are doing. If they need anything, I can, send messages to people and I can keep in contact. And it's really elegant. It's an iOS 7 app, which means, it has all support for things like the backward, I handle that well, but the backwards gestures. It's just a great looking, great working app. And if you live in Campfire, as a lot of people who have highly dispersed teams and a lot of remote workforce it's just absolutely the best way I've found to use Campfire on iOS. So it's Flint.
Flint.
Just like the Mac.
And BBM.
And yes, because, proudly Canadian.
Proudly Canadian. All right, let me try a scene of just my mug. All right? Because a mug doesn't move, right? Find a subject with lots of green dots. What?
So it's saying so it can track.
Joking around.
No. It'll show you green dots once you start it because it's basically find a subject with a lot of detail it can grab onto.
It's doing it.
It'll create lots of green dots.
I get it. Okay, so let me stop this how-to because last thing I want to do is learn how to use it.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go.
I just want to use it.
So then you hit pull back a little bit.
Two few dots. Try there we go. Lots of dots on that. Right.
And then you got to carefully rotate up. Yeah, not move, not slide. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, just rotate, not slide.
Well, kind of orbit.
Orbit the thing. Yeah, we'll see. Okay. Move around the subject. Okay, it says it's done. Let's see. That's pretty good.
That worked out really well.
Yeah, because it didn't move, right? So now I have if you were selling mugs, this would be a great way to send 3D renders.
Well, again, and this is their version 1. So,
That's
pretty
impressive.
I think there's a lot of possibilities for it as it moves forward.
All right. I'll share that on Facebook, and we'll see what happens. I was going to mention Hop. So I had mentioned Ping. I think I'd mentioned Ping before, which is a new email solution. The idea being treating email kind of like instant messaging. And I've used it. It's really cool. Unfortunately, they got sued by the golf club manufacturer. Or not sued, but they got a very nasty cease and desist. And so they had to change the name and hold off. They were going to come out October 18th. So it's out now. It's Hop, not Ping. So just think of the first, get it? Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I'm 10,000 in line, so I can't show you. I probably got rid of the invitation.
Lines are horrible.
Huh?
Those lines,
they're really long.
Lines in an app is horrible.
It's a long line, 10,000.
You're falling behind. How did you?
I'm going backwards. Like going backwards in line.
No.
Well, fortunately,
with a proxy server, Leo, and just spoof the response from the server.
But I haven't used this, and I used it with a developer one night, and it really is kind of fun because, among other things, it's more like chat, even though it is using email as the back end, and you can take. The developer said, we've got free badges from anything on the net because you could do a web search and put any image into a Ping message. So it's really easy to add images. You know how a lot of companies make money on the sticker packs. Well, basically, you can use anything that's on the internet and use it as a sticker in your email. I like this a lot. It'd be worth signing up so you can get in line too. Hop is the name, not Ping.
Let's all get in line together.
Yeah, didn't Apple have to license Ping when they made the music?
I guess so, because the Ping people were really nasty to this app and basically set it behind.
More polite to somebody who has $1 trillion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and I think probably they could have fought it. Hop could have fought it, but they thought, well, why? Let's just get this thing out the door. Very interesting use of email. And I liked it a lot, especially if you're working, if you find yourself exchanging emails a lot, as you seem to be doing with people that you work with, this would be a good way to add this capability. And they're all stored as emails. Right. Hey, that's it for this edition of iPad Today. OS X Mavericks is on my desktop. Make it yours, too. Why not? That's cool that it did that. They're calling it 10.9. I thought it was 10. Didn't he say the 10? Oh, because they started at 0.
Right.
They count from 0, they're programmers. All right.
The next one is 10.10.
Yeah, no, this is not 10.10. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did not see the Apple event, of course, it's now on the Apple site, but you could also go to our Twit Live special and watch the Apple event with our commentary in the background. I want to thank Renee Ritchie for being here from imore.com. And we'll see him next week, I'm sure. Alex Lindsay from Pixel Core, you're going to come back?
I'll be in Rwanda.
Oh, but you might
have
do it from
bandwidth.
Rwanda.
I've got lots of bandwidth in Rwanda, and we have to show you the new green screen studio. And
I'd like to see it.
I'd like to see if we could get some of these these are like the ministers of information technology are all coming to Rwanda.
Wow,
so maybe we'll see if we can drag some of them on there.
We'll set aside a little time.
Okay.
Did I say it's iPad Today?
Yes.
Yes. This is not iPad Today.
It
kind of was iPad Today.
It was.
It's MacBreak Weekly.
I was going to say, wait till next week when we're saying, okay, big show last week. What do we got this week?
Nothing.
Kensington has a new iPad stand that.
That's why I ordered. That's why I ordered everything because it's supposed to come by next Tuesday.
Right. Exactly.
So that's the only thing I could order. Later in November for the Mini, I misspoke. I thought it was later. I thought it was this month, November 1st for the iPad Air. So, but I will have a MacBook Pro with Retina display by next
It's nice
week.
of Apple to stage out our money spending.
And now I know I have
to
save at least $3,000 for my new Mac Pro.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, does not include a monitor. Andy Yanako has filed. Let's bring ChicagoGrid.com down one more time in honor of Andy. We brought it down. That's awesome. He's at the Chicago Sun-Times.
While you're there.
Yeah. I think you deserve a raise now. You might just go into the editor and say, hey, anything happen on Tuesday? How's those web servers running? A little hot. They're on Amazon. You'd think it could have handled the traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a spike, Leo.
Exactly.
Yep.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
They're up now. They're back up. There it is. And thank you so much to MacCast's Adam Christensen for making some time for us.
Hey,
I really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me again.
MacCast.com if you want to listen to the original Macintosh podcast. How many years now?
9, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. December 2004.
Easily predates this. Yeah. Well,
Well, actually, by
Not
I can't
by
remember
too
when
much.
I can't remember. We did
because we started MacBreak started as a video, just MacBreak, and then we did the audio later, MacBreak Weekly, as an audio version of the video show. Your first one, I remember you shot
I think
that
it was January 2005
on the Cine Alta.
2000. Yeah. No, well, no.
It was the first 1080p.
The first one was Amber and you and I and Emery Wells
at
Macworld Expo.
So it would have come out in January 2005.
Right.
So you beat us.
Yep.
Right after.
Yep.
Yeah, just a little bit. Hey, nice to have you all. We do MacBreak Weekly. Normally we do a little earlier. We were waiting till the end of the Apple announcement before we started today. But normally 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1800 UTC on Tuesdays. We'll be back at that time next week. I hope you'll stop in, watch us live. We love having you in the chat room. Or come and visit us in the studio. Nice to have a live studio audience. You can just email tickets at twit.tv and we'll set out a chair for you. Otherwise, get an on-demand audio or video version at our website, twit.tv/MBW, or subscribe in Apple's podcasts, iTunes, wherever you get your favorite online entertainment. We're there, and that way you'll get it each and every week. I'm Leo Laporte. Thanks for joining us. Now get back to work, because break time is over.